Welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast, the world's leading authority on childcare marketing, mindset, expansion, and profitability. Each episode will feature interviews with the brightest minds in the childcare industry to guide you into becoming a smarter business leader. Our hosts have opened 10 schools while raising 5 children. They are certified business coaches and are the top-selling childcare business book authors of all time. This episode is sponsored by Childcare Genius Marketing. Let Childcare Genius Marketing help you get fully enrolled and fully staffed. Visit childcaregenius.com for more details. Let's welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast our hosts, Brian and Carol Duprey.
Hello, welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast.
We're your hosts, Brian and Carol Duprey.
And it's another episode of Ask Brian and Carol. And we're excited because we love these things. So in the whole month of April, we're going to be answering your questions live on the air. So feel free to send us a question that you'd like answered at Brian, B-R-I-A-N, at childcaregenius.com. We will keep it anonymous. We won't tell anybody your name. And we will answer any questions so you don't have to worry about embarrassed on the air. And today's question comes from an amazing listener. And they wrote, what insurance is essential? And how do rising insurance costs impact the bottom line? All right, that's a good question. Thanks for asking that for us. We'll answer that today. Before we get started, just want to remind you that if you have not ordered my new book, Childcare Multi-Millionaire, it is on sale for $0. We're going to give it away free on our website at childcaregenius.com. I'll go to the books tab, and I'll even pay for the shipping. No other coach in America does that for childcare books. And we're happy to get our books in your hands completely free. And no shipping. It's for US only. Sorry, Canada, I can't ship it to you, but you could buy it on Amazon. Anyway, we're going to talk and answer this question here. So the good rule of thumb, I'm going to talk about liability insurance first. Liability insurance covers you in a bunch of different areas in your business. And the basic liability, you should have limits equal to at least twice your annual gross revenue. It's a good rule of thumb. Some people need more, some people need less, but you definitely need $1 million minimum. But if you're doing $2 million a year, you probably need between $2 and $4 million of coverage to make sure that, you know, if something really happened, there was a fire, kids got hurt, you know, something like that could happen. You want to make sure you have good, not just per incident. You want to have per incident where it covers multiple situations where if a kid got hurt, you would be covered and not lose your business. So that's usually a good rule of thumb. 3 to 5 million for somebody who does $2 million a year in revenue is probably a good rule of thumb. That. All right, the next one is abuse and molestation coverage. It used to be part of liability, but there's been some really big cases in America in the last few years, and these insurers have had to pay out 7-figure sums. So they have taken abuse and molestation coverage out of most liability policies, and they're standalone now. You need at least $1 million on this one, and probably more. And you got to make sure you're vetting your staff good, and background checks, policies, procedures, diaper change. Like, you got to really dial this in. Cameras is a good thing to do with this, but you got to make sure you have abuse and molestation coverage of at least $1 million or more. We see clients all the time who don't even have this and don't even know.
They don't know they don't have it. Right.
Got to talk to your agent and find out you have that. Yeah. So I hope you're getting a pen and paper and writing these things down, or you could just play it back for sure. The next one is student accident insurance. Kids get hurt, right? We've used this policy. Yes. All right. We have a student accident policy that we didn't know anything about years ago. We finally, met an agent, and he said, you don't have student accident. You need that. What is that? The student gets hurt. It keeps it off your general liability policy, and it'll pay up to $250,000, kind of a no questions asked, medical bills, things like that. It keeps you off your general liability. And kids very rarely get hurt at childcare. But if a kid falls, breaks their arm, it does happen. You just give your parents the claim number for that student accident insurance. You never even have to let your general liability know. And the student accident is very cheap. You know, in our business, it's like $2,000 a year, which is a whole lot cheaper than liability insurance.
Yeah.
But you know, we've had a couple claims that are 50, 60,000 and it hasn't gone up. So it's a good policy to have. What's the next one, hon?
The next one is EPLI.
All right, employment practices liability insurance, a must-have in today's world. And I meet clients all the time, childcare center owners who do not have this.
We didn't have it
We didn't have it
until we thought we needed it.
Yeah, it's funny how
Yeah.
you just assume. Do not assume. You need to call your agent and make sure you have this in place. If somebody ever said, you fired me because I'm black, woman, handicapped, old, whatever protected class, gay, there's so many protected classes out there that if somebody ever says you fired me because your liability insurance won't cover you.
Yeah. And regardless of whether you fired them for that reason or not,
Doesn't matter. You still got to defend yourself.
Exactly. And it's harder for you to defend that you didn't do it than them to defend that you did.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because they don't have to pay to go after you. You have to pay to defend yourself. If you have this coverage, they'll defend you for it. If you do not have the coverage, the average lawsuit settles out at $400,000, which will come directly out of your pocket for not having this insurance. It's a cheap insurance to have. And what if a parent says, you don't have a handicap ramp? We're going to sue you because of that. You know, it could be as much as that. It could be that you're not ADA compliant. There's a bunch of different reasons you can get sued under EPLI that would cover. So you definitely want to have that. The next one is a non-owned auto rider. We send employees to Staples, right?
Or
Get
to
Walmart, you know, and if they were to, I know they're driving their own car. Whether they're on the clock or not, if they were to get into an accident, the center could be dragged into a lawsuit because you're the deep pockets. You know, the teacher's not a deep pocket. You are. So you get this rider, and it says that if you were to get dragged into a lawsuit, and for one of your employees getting injured on the way to and from, and then something that's company related, they're going to become a secondary to that lawsuit, and you're going to be covered. A must-have for childcare owners. The only one who probably wouldn't need this is a single center home daycare operation. All right, because you're going to be covered on the primary. But if you have any employees at all, even your own children that work for you, you sending them to the store, you need to have this coverage. What's the next one?
Next one is an umbrella.
Yeah, not for the rain. But it could be a rainy day for not having one. You want an umbrella policy that sits over all your other policies. And I have personal umbrellas and I have corporate umbrellas in multiple different businesses that I own, because it says that if all the limits have exhausted in that policy due to a traumatic event or accident or something like that, then umbrella will start covering up to a much higher amount. 5 billion, 10 million, you know, if something really happened. You know, we had a roof blown off at our daycare one time. Can you imagine if, you know, a bunch of kids got hurt or killed, God forbid, you could have an expensive lawsuit on your hands and your liability might not cover it. And that way, you know, having an umbrella over it does kick in and it can help save your business for sure. Workers' compensation.
Most states require workers' compensation.
Some don't.
Right. But even if your state doesn't require it, you need to have it.
You have to have this. Because in the states that do not require it, employees can sue employers.
Right.
At least from what I'm saying. You don't want to get sued. You want to have this. In most states it's required, but I think Texas is one of the states I know it's not required. Maybe Florida, I'm not sure. But you definitely have to have this to make sure that if your employee gets hurt, they are taken care of medically, lost pay, wages, things like that. I mean, you are responsible for them while they're there. You don't want to come out of your own pocket. Definitely have workers' comp insurance.
We had an employee that got hurt doing the hokey pokey, and it cost our insurance how much? $500,000?
300 something thousand.
300 something.
Yeah, for a broken elbow or bad elbow.
She had to have surgery.
She tripped over a kid.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, very important. I'm glad it didn't come out of my pocket. Unemployment insurance, again, required in most states, but just make sure you have that. I don't know of any state that doesn't have unemployment compensation insurance. Um, but the less claims you have, the less it's going to cost you.
Right.
So make sure you have cause when you let somebody go, proper documentation.
Yes.
But don't sweat it. If you do have to do a claim, it's usually one or two really don't bite against you too much.
Yeah.
But having 6, 7 claims a year, that could be very costly to you in the long run. So, all right, and the last one you're going to want to have is business interruption insurance. We actually used this a couple years ago. We had our roof torn off by a windstorm and lost the use of our building for 90 days, and we had to relocate. And we used our business interruption because we lost revenue during that time. We had to close for a little bit of time before we got the new location up and running.
Plus, we lost kids because
because of it, because of relocation. So all that factored into, I think we got a $70,000 business interruption payday. And that helped. That helped, bridge us that gap, and it helped to make us whole. And you will definitely want to have business interruption insurance for your building. You put it on your liability policy as a rider on that, but it doesn't automatically cover it. It's something you have to specifically ask for and pay for.
And one thing to always remember is that no matter how much insurance you have, insurance isn't a fast payout. So you have to make sure you have money to back up until your insurance pays
Good point.
you.
We was almost 10 or 11 months before we saw a dime.
And we have a client that's been at 9 months now.
9 months waiting for money. So that's just, if you look back at some of my podcast episodes in the last month or two, it's all about rainy day fund, living below your means, putting money away to handle situations like this so they don't bankrupt you. Insurance, they drag it and drag it. I think they do it because you'll give up eventually.
Right, and they do everything they can to not pay you.
Everything they can. So I think that covers just about everything. If we can help you, like we've helped this person, feel free to reach out. We'll give you a free coaching call, and maybe we can help you with the problem you're suffering with. Or you could just, again, write to Brian at childcaregenius.com and ask that question. We'll answer it live on the air, but we might not be able to get to all. But if you'd like a free coaching call with somebody on our team, just reach out to childcaregenius.com under the coaching tab. Say, I'd like a free coaching call. We will help you out. All right, this concludes this episode of the Child Care Genius podcast. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy life to join us today.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss a future episode of the Child Care Genius podcast. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Child Care Genius podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a future episode. Don't forget to visit our website at childcaregenius.com to see a list of services we offer to help grow your childcare business. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the Childcare Genius community.